Alrighty. Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Monica B. Miss B, the teacher, Instagram and Twitter. Oh, y'all, also on Facebook. Um, Fellow cosmetologist. Just want to say, hey, what's up? This edition of Salon Life TV is going to deal with a lot of things that a lot of us do from time to time. Um, Subconsciously or consciously, but I wanted to touch bases on something, how it affected a portion of our business, and specifically when it comes to nail salons. I found myself struggling against this even as a licensed professional 28 years later in the business, and it is something that I'm beginning to dig more into because now I question the validity of what this area of the business contributes. So here you are, focusing on manicuring and general services that nail techs perform. And so, as in the headline, quality over a quickie. Always sacrificing getting quick services over the quality of what we actually get. With that being said, I wanted to make sure that I'm able to touch bases on a few things with regards to what sparked this debate for me. I received a full set of acrylic nails, the same set as you have here. They're probably about a week away from being filled in now from my third fill, which will be my last one, which will put me at 2.5 months roughly. 2 months, 2.5. Upon the initial fill, though, 2 weeks later, I go back in, a different nail tech. I couldn't get into the original nail salon that I wanted to get into, which is issue number one. It's full with all women and women of all ethnicities. So that I particularly love to patronize. Women of color and women that are running their own businesses. I wasn't able to get an appointment there, so I went to just a neighboring mall here in Orlando and was able to get into a salon, basically get in where you fit in. The pedicures that I get there are typically okay, but this was my first full set of nails that I've ever gotten there, living in the city for 2 years now. 2 weeks later, I go back in for a fill, and I will say that maybe two or three of the nails did need a little bit of rebalancing in addition to the standard fill. For those of you who understand the rebalance, you're losing a bit of the amount was breaking down the actual acrylic when it comes to what's been laid over your tip, or even if it's just a sculpture as an overlay. You're actually losing a little bit of an amount, so they have to rebalance it to get it back to the same degree as where the rest of the nails are, as well as your filling. So that I was attempting to address once I walk in. But I get in, I sit down, the immediate service is busy or not. It's just not at the level or the quality of what I'm used to now patronizing these beautiful women at the Polish Room, South Orange Avenue. If you're in Orlando, please look them up. Check them out on Instagram. They all do phenomenal work. So the quality of just the standard and being a salon professional myself, greeting your clients when they come in, have a seat, sit down, what can we do for you, just overall welcoming. Granted that the salon's a little busy, it was lacking a little bit in that, and it's just kind of like pick your polish out and have a seat over there. Sat down, and the stylist looked at my nails, not bothering, and I get gel polish, so not bothering even remove any of the gel, but it's like, oh, I think you're going to need a full set. No, the question went, oh, you need a full set today. That's what it was. And I went, oh, no, I'm just here for filling. That's okay. Begin to remove the polish, and I don't have a problem with drilling to remove gel. Polish, I don't, because I don't do traditional gel. But be careful that you are not over drilling the polish. In the instance, you are creating a situation where I have to now get the nails rebalanced in addition to a fill. Okay, so that's where we were. With that being said, um, he began to go to work on um, pushing back the cuticle and beginning to just file down um, the outgrowth. With that being said, it came up again. Oh, you must have your hands in water a lot. So, well, not necessarily. I said, but I do think I'm going to need a rebalance. And I pointed to the ones that I thought they were going to necessarily need it. So he begins to chip that with just a nail chipper. I'm okay with that as well. That, or you can drill down or file down to get down to where you got a nice even playing field that you can now rebalance your acrylic. Um, and then I'm kind of scrolling through the phone on one hand, and he's working on the opposite hand. And then I feel kind of a yanking situation. I look up, and he's trying to pry off a nail on one hand, and I'm like, whoa, like what's going on? Oh, well, these need to come off. And I really do think that you need to get a full set. And so I'm not getting a full set. I got a full set here 2 weeks ago. Pointed to him, to another nail tech, just a table over behind him. And it's like, they do need to be rebalanced. I said, but I'm not taking the nails off. If the nails are not cracked, they're not lifted, don't take them off. You can cut them back, rebalance them, I'll pay for that. And again, that was the second time it came up. So he began to do that, and again, working on the opposite hand now, began to now try to bring the situation up again. So I just had to stop him wholeheartedly, and I said, and sweetheart, I am a licensed cosmetologist. I'm a licensed teacher in 2 states, of cosmetology in 4. What I need you to understand is when I say that I do not want to take these nails off and I'm not going to get a full set, I don't plan on getting a full set. Not when I just had a full set 2 weeks ago in this same salon with your product. So what you're now going to do is have me question the quality of the product that you use here, me thinking that a standard rebalancing is what I was going to request. But now you're saying that 8 or out of the 10 of the nails that I have need to come off, and I need a full set. Now you have me questioning the quality of the product that you have here, and if you are using product at a high enough grade of a quality that you are not playing some mind trick with clients, making them feel that they need a new set every time that they come in, every 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, which is unheard of. At the longest length, you're not going to require a client to keep a full set on any more than 2 months, maybe 3. That is with no lifting and no air getting trapped beneath that nail, which can lead to a nail fungus. But if you keep your nails properly maintained, filled in, and balanced on week and a half to 14-day intervals, your nails are perfectly fine and they're going to stay attached to the nail bed. So when I brought that up, the entire conversation about new sets, all that went dead. And then all of a sudden, this guy began to stumble and fumble his words and play the I'm not speaking English that good on me. And I had to let him know, like, don't misunderstand me. I'm not an inspector. I'm not here to do anything like that, but I am an instructor. So I do understand you wanting to sell me a new set and me needing one is something else. But if the product is lifting out of 2 weeks from a fresh full set, now I'm questioning the quality of the product you use it. Is it something in your powder or something in your liquid? So why don't you, what type of powder or liquid do you use? And then that's when the conversation changed to the just working and just don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. So now all of a sudden I'm fine. But for the first 5 or 10 minutes of the service, I needed a fill-in, a new set. So I wasn't hearing that. So I wanted to bring this up in this video to talk about illegal and banned substances, specifically for nail salons. Here in Orlando, on Colonial Avenue, there's about 6 nail distributors within a 2 to 3 blocks of each other, and they are all Vietnamese owned. Vietnamese or Southeast Asian to some degree owned, not American owned. Products I've gone in, I've seen that they are in plastic jars, powder jars, your polymers are. They're in a jar, they have a label, but the ingredients list is not there, which is a requirement of the FDA. You're required to have that. More importantly, as a stylist in a salon, that ingredients list needs to hold storage, hazards, um, fire, safety, what to do in case of accidental spills, so forth and so on. And specifically what to do as far as safety precautions. From that list is where you keep your compatible SDS sheets upon request in a professional salon with any hazardous material. Just about all states now now going to require that you have those there. So when I looked at some of the products, just kind of going out and doing a little recon to make this video, about 3 of the stores that I went in, I did not see um, proper labeling there. I did not see anything on your monomers, your liquids. I didn't see proper labeling. A few things that they had that were American-made products, OPI and C&D. I did see them in proper label containers. Other things that they had there, generically speaking, that were of good quality but a little bit less on the price, I did not see that, so I stayed away from that. A few months back, it took me to a conversation that I had with a nail tech out in Metro West. And the conversation between her and I came up with the same thing. She had actually bought some of the product from one of those distributors. And the same thing, she noticed that there wasn't anything there on the label that remotely resembled product ingredients. Company name, address, contact information, nothing. So she bought it as a test to take home and to practice with it. And in the liquid monomer, it's the biggest issue. She got the liquid monomer, began to use it, and she said it had a high cotton candy type smell to it. MMA is going to be your bad guy when it comes to your nail service. Methyl methacrylate. EMA is perfectly safe for use. Ethyl methacrylate. Methyl methacrylate is illegally banned and has been since the 1970s. FDA and across the board for any type of human use or contact with human skin. It will completely destroy living tissue. Okay? The history of MMA, bear with me, I have my notes here, was banned for use against living tissue for nearly 50 years, with complaints to the FDA once the acrylic nail industry really jumped off in the early 1970s. Back then it was early reports and it was an unregulated product, and the product then did contain MMA. These products, however, began to produce a deformity and damage to the natural nail. So as with anything, you have an outbreak of something that happens to human beings, this, that, and the other, toxic, negative, something you breathe against your skin, your hair. You have to find first that it's going to cause a hazard and it's going to be at fault, and then you say, hey, it's not good to use this, we need to use something else. So with that being said, you were able to find usage for something less toxic against the skin, which is EMA. Okay. Key ingredients, however, again, getting back to the EMA, the bad guy here, is going to be PMMA, polymethyl methacrylate. PMMA, main ingredient, is a PVC. For those of us who are not understanding what that is, PVC is a standard plastic. So when you're using a substance for plastic, traditionally speaking, and the history of acrylics is they were actually, the acrylic substance as we know now was actually accidentally discovered by a dentist who needed something to help form and harden dental canals and cavities together, and that's how that was formed. Later on studies, we were able to find something that was traditionally used for nails. So that's the history of acrylic nails there. PVC is a polyvinyl chloride or a plastic, so in high enough industrial grade use, you use it as a cement or bonder. Okay? You use this stuff in grout or cement, knee and hip replacements, and it's designed to remain stabilized and insoluble, which means it's not going to corrode, it's not going to wither away with water or anything else. Insoluble for up to 20 years. That is the history of your MMA, which contains PMMA, which also contains PVC, which is a standard plastic. Okay? You can also find the base ingredients in wall and floor covering. So with that being said, guys, you want to be able to now question the validity of what some of the nail salons are actually using when it comes to giving you acrylic nails. So outside of the traditional use that they were overly hard, overly odored, I'll put it that way. They had a very a bad acidic odor to them, and it does naturally, which means it has an acid, fruity smells to them. Once you begin to mix your liquid with your powder, then it can have a highly toxic ammonia-based smell to it, which means it's starting to react now. What was happening with MMA was beginning to eat away at living tissue, unreacted. So it didn't have to be mixed with anything, but it was that corrosive against the living skin, which is why it was initially banned. With that being said, this product MMA is also highly flammable and again unstable. So what I believe is happening is some salons are importing the products into the country. They are probably now starting to water them down or dilute them with some other type substance to ward against the offensive odor that most inspectors or state investigators are going to go in looking for. So if you don't have something that's excessively offensive for you to breathe in, and we're used to the dust flying everywhere, we're not going to think that anything is wrong. Well, I think the opposite is happening now. Salons are maybe watering the product down, and you're getting a lesser grade product, making you think that your nails are you're wearing them down and you got your hands in a lot of water, no more than taking a standard bath every day, or oil, or this or that. And you're having to come in 2 weeks, and someone is trying to make you think that you need a full set of nails every time you come in. And trust me, these nail salons bring their family members, friends, generation upon generation in, and they help each other open up their salons. So they share this information and they teach and they train one another how to hustle. So they're here legally licensed, but the manner in which they're using their products, again, are we, the majority of the customers that are there requesting our nail services, are we sacrificing quality over a quickie just because we can get in and get a quick $20 set of nails and get out and they look cute? Are our nails and the products being used and marketed towards us being done in a healthy way? This is why Salon Life TV came about, as awareness for consumers, as well as for us as the stylists, the manicurists, the other professionals. We've got to start to talk and share this information, especially with our clients. And if we are behind our chairs sitting in our manicuring tables, we've got to learn to start to recapture the dollars that we spend out in our communities, especially the African American communities. We are in the $1 billion mark when it comes to how much money we spend. We've got to learn to recapture some of those dollars. Okay? When it comes to regulation and enforcement, please hear this clearly. Most of the state boards, cosmetology boards, which will also regulate manicure, will come in and they have the authority to investigate any product for usage there prima facie, and that means at first glance. Alabama, my home state, has the ability without permission, prima facie, and without a complaint. So, prima facie, if they have suspicion that it is an illegally banned substance or tool, they have the ability to take a sample on site, send it off for state testing, get the approval. If it comes back positive, then that particular salon or that nail tech or that stylist is going to be held accountable up to any type of fine that that particular board sees fit, and possibly up to suspension and revocation of your professional or establishment license. Please keep that in mind. You have the ability as the general public to submit a complaint against any stylist, nail tech, barber, so forth, as long as it's in our code and it's against our regulations. And every state board has all of their codes, rules, and regulations online. If you feel you're being, if your money is being wasted, specifically at this point as a consumer, and products are not what they say they are in the container, or you think the product is something inferior, you think the product is something that's damaging to your nail, please do yourself a favor and submit the complaint. We're also going to talk about, maybe in a later video, about the cleanliness of a pedicure tub. So we're talking about disorders and diseases that are going to affect the nail, the skin, MRSA, flesh-eating bacteria, your the nail funguses, things of that nature that's going to come at a later post. But right now, I wanted to save this for the MMA. So with that being said, I'm going to put a couple things in the link in the box below. You guys drop down, give me a comment wherever you're from. Shouts out to you. But again, oppose salon license repeals. Please hashtag that, because this is why we need to make sure that our industry stays properly licensed, well-educated individuals who are going to do the right thing, and that is not use inferior products to the point that we're trying to trick and hustle clients to coming in to get services done every 2 weeks. It should not be required to be done. Pulling, yanking, prying off nails. Take the time to soak your nails off. Pay the extra $5 or whatever it's going to take to do that. But anytime you have your service provider rushing you through a service, I would question that. Again, okay, guys, so I appreciate you taking the time to hear this one out. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Like and share this one. Let's keep this movement going. We have an entire lifestyle that we have to make sure that we're looking out for one another. We eat, we live, we breathe. This is what we do in the salon every single day. Salon Life TV. Check me out on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram and Twitter are coming. And hashtag opposesalonlicensingrepeals. I'll also, again, follow up with a couple of links in the bio, maybe some in my own comments, where I'll be able to put just out front a little bit of where I did my history, my research, where I got the history and the backdrop of what's going on right now in the industry. But keep your nails safe. Make sure you're walking into an establishment. Oh, and please, please, please look for your inspection scores. Most states are going to require that the inspection report, the most recently due inspection report, is at the front of the establishment somewhere, and every nail tech hairstylist should have their license with their photo on it at their working station. But the inspection report is what you want to look for. Most states have a fluctuating score between a 70 and the 80. That's a passing score. So if something is below that, depends on where you are in your state, get out of there. Don't go and don't spend your money, okay? So thank you guys again for hearing me out, and I'll check you guys out later. Thanks. Bye.